miles in cash flow, putting debt in check. Now time is my friend and not a pain in the neck.
Hello, everyone. This is the Region Republican Show here on WJOB. My name is Bob Starkey, your host, and today we've got, you're going to listen to me today. You get to listen to me today. It's, I don't know that I'd call it a privilege, maybe? I don't know. We're going to talk about a couple things here with the Lake County Republican Party. Some things that are going on between now and our next show will be on December 22nd, so there's a ton of holiday stuff happening between now and then, so we'll cover some of that. This is the Lake County Republican, paid for by the Lake County Republican Party. Chairman Randy Niemeyer, Vice Chair Leanne Ingerman, our Treasurer Chris Salatis, Secretary Steve Eichner, and Jessica Messler, our Executive Director. For those folks who are looking for information about things that are going on, check out LakeCountyRepublicanParty.com. They have all sorts of information. I think our mic is on in the producer's booth, and so we're picking up some extra noise in there, which, there we go. Now I got the thumbs up for that. again, if you're interested in attending any of the local clubs, the local parties, your town parties, check out LakeCountyRepublicanParty.com. They've got an events, a calendar page, and they talk. They've got all sorts of information on there. I do want to highlight a couple things. All in December. This is. I honestly, I feel a little bit like I'm in holiday mode. We've got Thanksgiving coming up. December 1st is a week from today. December 1st, State Senator Dan Durnell has a fundraiser. The Lake County GOP also has their meeting and Christmas party on that day. The big one coming up December 4th is the Lake County GOP precinct meeting and Christmas party. That's over in Griffith at Avenue 912, I believe it is. 219, I'd have to look. But go check out LakeCountyRepublicanParty.com for those details. The Christmas party is always really good. And I don't know any details yet, and so party folks who are listening and organizing this event, prayers if I get this wrong. Last year they did an ugly Christmas sweater party, or contest rather. So, yeah, wear your ugly Christmas sweaters, and if they're not doing one, I don't know, you'll look fantastic. So come on out to that, get tickets for that. On December 10th, the Indiana Federation of Republican Women, District 1, is holding their holiday gala. On a bit of self-promotion here, on December 18th, the Dyer GOP is having their Christmas social at Red Zone in Dyer. One thing we are excited about that, we are having our last 2025 fundraiser for that, and we're doing a purse raffle. We held a gun raffle back in the spring for our fundraiser, and that was a lot of fun. We got all sorts of attention out of that one. We had we had protesters at that one because evidently some folks dislike the Second Amendment, which is their right. They were across the street. God bless you for coming out there and protesting. We had a fantastic time. It did wonders for our local Dyer GOP. But one thing we heard from people was, hey, guns, maybe those are for the guys. Maybe find something for the women for your last one. So we are doing a purse raffle. It's $25 a ticket, $5 for $100. And we have a Louis Vuitton. If you go to, I think it's DyerGOP.com, check us out on Facebook. The purse was something like $2,200, and so if you're able to win that and give that to your special person on Christmas, I think you'll make out okay. But we're also the second prize is like a spa day, so there's all sorts of good stuff there. So that is my shameless plug. Since I'm the guy on the radio, I know this is the Lake County Republican Party, but I'm touting a little Dyer GOP right now. So December 18th, Dyer GOP Christmas Social at Red Zone. December 22nd, Monday, December 22nd, is going to be the Region Republican Holiday Show. I've got some things planned for that day. I am doing the morning show that day, so it's going to be 3 hours of me, but it's going to be me and all sorts of guests doing some Christmas things. So be sure to tune back in on Monday, December 22nd. Yeah, so you can find all that information and more at LakeCountyRepublicanParty.com. Again, on the event page for that. There are a handful of things that have been happening in the region lately that I wanted to talk about. Redistricting is on everyone's mind here, not only in the country, not only in the state of Indiana, but here in Lake County, because we have several of these state senators who are they're not in the no category, they're not in the yes category, they're in the category of, hey, we would like some more information before we move forward with some things. And if if there's one thing as we watch Fox News, CNN, we're always criticizing our elected officials when they don't make decisions fast enough, and it comes out later on that, well, we didn't have all the facts, we didn't have all the information, so there's this wet blanket we tend to put over elected officials that say if you don't make these decisions fast, you're wrong. But now we're seeing the flip side of that, where if you are taking more time than we would like to make these decisions, we don't want you to study this. We don't want you to come to an informed decision. Just do what we say and do it now. You're wrong there too. And so we can't have it both ways. And here in Lake County, we have two state senators, State Senator Dan Durnell and State Senator Rick Niemeyer, covering the middle portion of the county and the southern portion of the county, where they were victims of swatting attempts. I've not spoken with either of them, so I have zero firsthand knowledge of that. So I'm going to add nothing to the accounts of the swatting, other than to say I think we're up to maybe 5 or 6 throughout the state. All sorts of elected officials are getting threats on their house, themselves, their family, and I can't think of anything more un-American, unpatriotic than choosing to use violence against these elected officials simply because they are not doing what you want. We have the 17th Amendment, which said, okay, we're going to turn the election of the U.S. senators back over to the people. The legislatures aren't going to do it. We can hash that out on some constitutional hour here on Region Republicans. But it's interesting now that we are almost doing reverse on that, and we're saying, okay, we want the state legislature to now determine who we're going to send as our representatives. There are 10 different ways that folks are hashing out this redistricting, whether it's good, whether it's bad, and then if it is good, when do we do it? Do we do it mid-cycle? Do we wait until the next census comes up? My personal opinion is I heard a great analogy, and I'm not a sports guy, and so I don't want to hear people critiquing my exact sports analogy, but this is what it is. If you're in the middle of a game and you find that for whatever reason, the other team has deflated the ball a little bit, which when they're playing, it gives them an advantage. If you find that, you don't wait until the end of the game to say, halfway through halftime, it's deflated, but we're not going to touch it. We're just going to play out the game, and we'll come back to it the next game with the correct ball, and we'll go from there. You don't do that. You stop the game, you get the proper ball, and then you continue to play the game. So that is my personal argument to why redistricting is somewhat warranted in this mid-cycle time. It's new, it's different, but as near as I can tell, there's nothing inappropriate about it, other than it's different. And whenever you do something different under the umbrella of politics, you're going to get the people who are for it going to find 14 justifications to do it, and the people that are against it are going to have all sorts of issues as to why. Now, the deflated ball, that is in the 2020 census, even the Census Bureau has stated that some of their numbers were incorrect, and those numbers directly led to the misappropriation of representatives all across the country. So what do you do? These places, they're certainly not going to change it because it favors the Democrats. You look at California, they passed Prop 50 where they're going to get to redraw their lines, and certainly they're going to favor favor the Democrats because that's who's going to be redrawing the lines. I believe Prop 50 specifically said that they're going to let the Democrats, not the Democrat Party, but those elected who just so happen to be Democrats, redraw the line. So what do you think is going to happen? When they first started talking about redistricting, there were all sorts of states on the East Coast where they said, hey, look, you know, 40% of the people in Rhode Island are voting Republican, yet there's not a single Republican representative. And so those lines have been drawn. It's not a gerrymandering issue. It's just that's how the lines were drawn. And if I hear one more Yahoo, and I'm saying Yahoo here just because that is from Illinois, say, oh, Indiana, excuse me, is going to gerrymander something, then all you need to do is just show me the Illinois map. Show me the Illinois map, and then look me in the eyes and tell me somehow, some way that folks in Illinois have some moral superiority as to the redistricting or districting topic. So, a couple big things here with that. Again, I think it's if we are looking at the national landscape, I think there is a precedent to redraw those lines if you're looking at a national fight. You know, I will also admit it's hard to say that, hey, look, in Rhode Island, I use that example, and I could be off on these numbers, but again, this is just an example. If it is a 60-40 split or even a 70-30 split in Rhode Island, whatever it is, then yeah, there's Republicans there, and they should be represented. So if you apply that same logic here to Indiana, where Indiana is, it's a red state, but it's 55-45 maybe some places 60-40, but overall state, should there not be representation? True, but again, when I first got elected, one of the current representatives down in Indianapolis said, "Look, every 10 years you have the census, and when you're elected, you've got one political job to do, and that is districting and drawing those ward lines, drawing those maps." And look, this is our time to help on a national level. Again. I think this has exposed several, I don't want to say cracks in the armor. Every civic organization has issues. I don't care if you're a member of the dire Republican Party, the dire Democrat Party, the Cherville Munster, they've got a Lions Club, they've got every single social organization has rifts, because we're all people, we're all trying to do what we think is best at the time. But here, this has in Indiana, this has shown that we are not always on a unified front, and sometimes as much as we would like the fighting, we don't want to see mom and dad fight in public. Sometimes we don't want to see that. This has now become very public here in Indiana, here in Lake County, where we have folks on either side of this issue, and I think as we find the extreme of that, where we get some of these folks getting these swatting attempts. Again, I've not spoken with these guys, and I'm not on the Twitters, so I'm not catching all of the news. It looks like some of these events were attempts where law enforcement was able to reach out to some of these folks and determine that everything was fine, so no response was really needed. And then some other folks, I hear that they had taken one of the state senators and his wife out on the front lawn and detained them. And these are very, very, very tricky times. So certainly that is a wholly inappropriate response to this. But it does force us to deal with what direction do we want to go in as a county party, as a state party. What do we feel our role is to help on the national level? And I don't know what that is. This here will be posted later on here on it's on the YouTubes now. We will post it on the Lake County Republican page. I'd love to hear the comments from folks, and not just the blind, hey, we can't do it now, or we must do it now. Those are easy comments to make. I want to hear why you think that that now is the time to do that. I'm going to fall back on my sports analogy. I think uh, we have examples all across the country, again, including the Census Bureau itself, saying that, hey, these numbers were not accurate. We absolutely should be counting everyone in the country, whether they are legal or not, but we should only be counting legal residents as we appropriate congressional seats in districts. That's I don't know how you could convince me otherwise of that. We absolutely should know everyone that's here, but evidently that's even been turned down by folks in Washington to ask a citizenship question. We should ask a citizen. If you're here, you're here. We should know that you're here. We should count these things and deal with that on a different day. But only those people counted that are citizens should go towards appropriation. We now know that has not been happening, and if this is some way that Indiana can help correct that course, I think we should do it. And again, you're not going to stop. You're not going to play the game with a bad ball and say, we'll just get it next time. No, you stop the game and you change it. So those are my opinions. Again, I'm just one guy sitting here with a microphone. So if you've got some extra thoughts on that, as these get posted on the Lake County Republican page, and here, post them, and we'll talk about it. That's the only way we can get through this. I don't want to use any social clout, but that was one of the things that Charlie Kirk had always said is we are here to talk, and the minute we stop talking, the minute you start picking up a phone call and fake swatting attempt people, you've lost the narrative, you've lost any high ground, and maybe that wasn't your devious plot to begin with. But the minute we stop talking about this stuff is the minute it frankly all goes to hell. And so, when we get this up there, comment what you think. We've got Governor Mike Braun had called a special session, and my guess is that didn't go the way that they thought it would. But it's not over. It's over. My guess is they will probably still come back together. They can get back together anytime. They've been elected to do a job. Go do the job. That's all we ask you to do. Get some information and do the job. And if you're still having some doubts on it, call around. That's been my 20-some minute rant on redistricting. Those are my thoughts. I reserve the right to change those thoughts as new information is about, and I really wish more people would keep an open mind about things. Until you have your facts. Very, very few hills are hills you want to die on. This is one that I think we can fix now. I think we can do now. I think we can change now. But as this has been an amazing country for coming up on 250 years, and it will continue to be so. Even if, for whatever reason, folks don't go back to Indianapolis and vote on this, we'll figure it out. It's not the end, but yes, this is the conclusion of my 20-minute rant on the swatting attempts were evil. I don't know what you're attempting to prove on that. We don't even know what it is. I haven't even spoken to the folks that have gotten this. So, who knows? Was it the right mad at the right? Was it the left trying to pin it on the right? I don't know that we'll know. I don't know that we'll ever know. But it's certainly been the flavor of the news for the last week or so, and that is, as an elected official myself, that's a real shame because certainly, it takes a lot to stand up and be counted and to represent folks And then to have something like that happen, that's an untenable thing that we shouldn't, we certainly shouldn't celebrate. And to the credit of the folks here in Lake County, I have not seen much of that. Um, so that's all I've got on that topic. Again, I just want to read a few things. This is the Region Republican paid for by the Lake County Republican Party. Chairman Randy Meyer, Vice Chairman Leanne Ingerman, Treasurer Chris Salatis, our Secretary Steve Eichner, and Jessica Messler, who is our Executive Director, and the one holding all of the digital things, and so she's also the one up LakeCountyParty.com. Check that out for events, in town organization meetings. On there are some telephone numbers. Be sure to check it out. I know on the case says a Dyer's meeting as a regular meeting in January, and we're not doing that. It's the holidays, so check them out before you go. But I do want to again preview. Well, we're going to do a Christmas show on Monday, the 22nd. We're going to have some great guests in here. That's going to be a really time. That entire morning, tune in, everybody. We're gonna do it. It's going to be a lot of, and starting next year, Region Republicans, this year. So I've been granted, and I've got like a minute left. I've been granted a pretty much my own autonomy on this show, and I've loved it. And this has been a fantastic year. I think we've done a really good job of continuing the Republican narrative here in Lake County. Next year is an election year, and so starting in January, we are going to start having candidates on every month. So if you are a candidate in a primary next year, if you don't think you're going to have a general opponent, let's put you off until after the primary. If you are going to have a primary opponent here in Lake County, in the region, in 2026, give me a shout out. Any of you candidates, you know how to find me to begin with. Give me a shout out. We're going to get you on the show, and I want all of the primary folks to get on here to tell their story. That's the point of this show, of this radio station, the YouTubes, all of it is for don't make someone else tell your story. You come on here and you tell your story. So if you are a primary candidate next year, whether it is for dog catcher in some small municipality, or if you're going to be one of the folks running for Congress, come on the show, tell your story, and let's make 2026 a great year for Republicans in Lake County. That's all I've got. I've been your host, Bob Starkey, and I will catch you next month with a Santa hat. Have a good one.